Hey, it's the OwlBoiz with Tree,
Bentley,
Mystic,
and W.
and it's another Owlcast. We're going to be talking about some games we've been playing and some news in the community. So first off, I want to talk about Ooblets. So, as you know, me and Cuddly Basket are super excited about Ooblets. We both have t-shirts. I forgot to wear mine.
Yeah. I'm repping for the both of us. Repping for the channel.
And we want to talk about the huge news about them signing up with Epic Games Store, and then the huge backlash.
The aftermath.
Yeah, all that. Right, so Ooblets was originally going to do Xbox One and Steam and PC, basically. But recently they announced that they were going to sign up exclusively with the Epic Games Store because of the money it provided, to help them develop the game.
Right.
They're a bit snarky and stuff in the letter that I read.
Yeah. Well, traditionally, like a lot of their blog posts, they have a really particular brand of humor, and I think a big part of the backlash was a lot of outside people looking in and not necessarily having that context. They're just thinking like, oh, they're being kind of rude about this serious thing that we have feelings about.
Yeah. I feel like they could have been better worded for the people of the Ooblets community who care about the game and being on Steam.
I think the people in the community, it's kind of like who it was tailor-made for, especially. I think it's mostly the outside people that they should have been considering a little bit more.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, I think that people are looking forward to the game. Some could be disappointed, but definitely a lot of this, like, hate mail and, like, what's it, like, made-up videos.
Yeah, there was some doctored stuff where they took, like, things that one of the creators had said and, like, flipped it to sound like super anti-Semitic. There's some weird, crazy stuff in it.
Yeah, and so basically it's just all this hate mail backlash that they got from them. I heard that even Epic Game Store responded, basically saying, that you can be questioning the game industry and the things we've done, but what they're doing to the Ooblets creators is just like harassment and just not good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you guys think of that?
Well, I actually hadn't heard about the videos being doctored to do anti-Semitic statements.
Yeah.
So that's way out of line, I think. But definitely, I feel their new company, there's just two people.
It's just two people.
Yeah, they don't really have that kind of presence that I think that they could be too snarky and get away with it. So all these people are looking forward to this cute game coming out. I feel like they may have misread the audience a little hard. And apparently it's just the husband, right? It's a husband and wife pair, and he's the one that handles the social media, so I think he screwed up. He hasn't apologized. He definitely should. But I definitely think that the fans are taking it a little too far.
Yeah, he actually said he won't apologize for the decision that he's made with it.
He made a response post, and he says like he specifically like wrote it to not be an apology. But
but basically though he does say he should have worded it a bit better, but he doesn't regret like their decision to go with Epic Games.
Yeah, he says that he stands by what he wrote, but he also says he could have handled it better.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that he should apologize for choosing the Epic Game Store, but for delivering the message the way he did. So if he said that he regrets that, then I guess that meets that criteria. But I think if he says that I'm sorry but not sorry, that really does still put out that bad message, and I think he should not do that.
Yeah, it's always hard because that's what their blog kind of is. It's a lot of just them joking around about a lot of their updates and stuff.
No. Let's do a test first. It's too far away.
Yeah, because they have a certain brand that they have, which is that style of humor. So it's hard to mix those things with also getting like clear, serious messages across to their specific community. Yeah, it's a hard line to walk, like trying to be funny and also delivering information.
And as I said, I think if you've established your presence a little bit better, because there's still relatively unknowns, so they're hardcore dedicated fans get it.
Right.
But the ones who are just like, oh, this is a cute game, and they're casually interested, they aren't going to be the ones that respond in kind. So
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Because I think this is their first game too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, well, luckily for me, like, I don't have to make, I'm not really affected by it because I'm getting on the Xbox One, but you can definitely see how other people who, usually use Steam or who don't really like Epic Games could be affected by it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was planning on getting it on Steam because I don't own an Xbox, so I don't know anything about Epic. I definitely would prefer literally all my games to either be not connected to any of these, what do you call them, like services, clients,
hosting clients,
or be on Steam. Like I definitely would prefer it on Steam or neither.
Just have all your stuff in one place.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So you're gonna get it on Epic Game Store now, W?
Yeah, I'm gonna get it on Epic. I just wish I didn't have to.
Yeah.
This is the first
Nice to have
game that I've, this is the first time that I'm going to be downloading Epic at all.
Yeah. Well, if you do more indie games, I have a feeling that it's gonna be a more common thing. Especially with, like Outer Worlds and stuff like that.
Well, it's not an indie game.
That's true. I guess just more games in general.
Yeah, PC games on PC.
Yeah.
If I can, I'll try and get it on no client. Like, I know there's certain places on the internet that you can go to, like GOG, that you can download that's devoid of any clients at all, but not all games are that way.
Yeah, but Ooblets specifically is going to be exclusive to the Epic Game Store, which is the whole...
Yeah, they're exclusive for a year on Epic Games Store.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's about a year. Yeah.
Alright, well, moving on. We're going to be talking about a game that W, Mystic, and I have been enjoying immensely. We've been talking about Dragon Quest Builders 2.
It's time for your Dragon Quest update.
I know, like, not even like a few discussions ago, I was talking how excited I am for this game.
Yeah.
Now we're finally playing it, and it's awesome. So, you want to talk about this?
I'll go last.
I have been playing this game, and I am having so much fun. I am so glad you hyped this game up to the point where like I was on the fence about it, and then you kind of got super excited for it, and then I did research, and then that got me excited for it.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm just playing. It's the only game I'm playing at this current moment. Every other game has gone on hold. And yeah, it's so much fun. I have a lot of complaints, as I'm sure Mystic does as well. But overall, I mean, even with all the flaws this game has, I would say it's like like an 8 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10 in my head canon.
Yeah, so what have you been enjoying the most about the game?
I like that. Okay, I always like Minecraft likes. I like Terraria, I like Minecraft. One thing that those games don't have is like really difficult enemies and a continuous story progression, and this game kind of fills that niche. You're always able to build whenever you want. Like, you have your main island that you build on, and then you always have the ability to go do storyline and stuff, and there's always something to do, even if you get tired of building for a while. Like, you can go play a legit RPG that just exists in this Minecraft game.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed playing it so far. What's really cool is it has multiplayer, which is the best. Something we've done is we've gone to W's place. We declared it Pancake Town and built a giant pancake monument. We built a dungeon for people who hate pancakes, where they just starve and die because all we have is pancakes. That's fun. We visit each other's islands, and it's pretty neat playing together. And there are a couple of flaws in the game that I would say are flaws. So one thing is you have to get through this first part of the storyline to play multiplayer, and it took us like 8 hours. It was maybe me for 6, but it was still pretty dang long to get to the multiplayer. But once we got to the multiplayer, we had a lot of fun. It's been real good. So there's no creative mode. There is like W was saying, you build on an island. However, you're limited by what you can make by where the host is in their storyline. So it's kind of disappointing that you don't have everything at once and have the story mode be a separate thing. I also thought it would be really cool to have multiplayer with the story mode where we all could play. You have to like collect things, do things, and for these people, and it'd be fun to do it like all together. But even with those flaws there, the game has been super fun. I love building a bunch of dumb stuff with a Mystic and W, and then building cool stuff as well. So, what do you think, Mystic?
So far, I really like the game. The fact that you can't play with your friends for whatever the length of the tutorial is. I've seen people say online it's 4 hours, but from my experience, it was definitely closer to 6 to 8. And I have a hard time with how they handle multiplayer. I don't like the fact that you can only do it if you're exploring these islands that you can revisit for an infinite number of resources, but besides that, don't really offer a whole lot except for fighting, I think, 2 to 3 bosses.
Yeah.
Or you can go to the main island and just build. There's no way for you to help your friends progress through storyline. And actually, there's a mechanic that I've wanted, some kind of way that you could have like waves of enemies attack you, and you can
like
build
a defense mode.
Yeah, so that way you guys can build, but also do the combat mechanic, which this game is supposed to integrate the two, but you really only ever do one or the other. And in multiplayer, it's almost primarily building and not combat. So that was my major drawback to the game, that they didn't have that system. And then you go further into the storyline, and that island that you visit, that's the primary mechanic, is this infinite wave of monsters that attack you, and you have to build your defenses. And I was like, this game has the thing that I wanted in it, but they prevent you from being able to use that or play that mode in the multiplayer setting, which is where it's really best implemented. So I'm pretty disappointed in that. Maybe that changes. I haven't beaten the game yet, although I have a feeling I'm pretty close. So if that is an option that you can unlock, then I'll mention that on our next video and revisit it and improve my opinion of it. But so far, the game is fun, but flawed. And I hope that Dragon Quest Builders 3 fixes those issues, because those are things that I already see existing in Dragon Quest Builders 2, and they really have no reason to not be in multiplayer mode. Or there are things that I've seen existed in older games that are similar, like Starbound and Minecraft, Terraria.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it really... It's really frustrating because there's all these mechanics in the game, and you're just like, why can't I just this but friends? Yeah, I'd like to do multiplayer with friends. I'd like to do the story mode with friends. I'd like to do a whole bunch of stuff. And while, yeah, the story mode is really fun and the multiplayer is really fun, I can see the limits of multiplayer, and it's frustrating. Like, I can see how this game could effortlessly be more fun than it currently is, in really simple ways, and it feels like they were holding back content for a future game. Or something like that, but, maybe they just didn't think about it, something. But, I mean, I love the game to death.
Yeah. Yeah, on a more positive note, I think the customization is really awesome, the way they let you change your name or change the way you look. effortlessly. It's pretty cool. I love that you have like these pool tubes that you can race across on rivers. We play tag where we punch each other and fly away on Breath of the Wild. What are they? Parachutes? What are they called?
Gliders.
Huh?
Paragliders.
Paragliders, yeah.
They're basically just blankets.
We just use blankets.
Yeah.
I know Mystic's always flying around with Malroth and then dropping them in the ocean.
I don't do it on purpose.
What I think is really awesome they've improved on, like, from games like Minecraft, is they give you this trowel, and with it you can fill up, like, larger areas or swap blocks for other blocks, and it makes building, like, especially, like, grand ideas a lot faster.
I do like the trowel.
So I think that one is a huge improvement from games like Minecraft and things that I've seen. So there's definitely a lot of positives still. So that makes it, well, we really enjoy the game, but definitely if they made these changes to fix the drawbacks that we see, I think it would be an even better game, a third entry. Anything you're interested in, Cuddly Basket? I know they got burgers in this game.
Yeah, I do love burgers. So I gotta get it for that. It's a burger game.
Any way to convince you to play, or any thoughts about the game?
You gotta pay the burger tax. That's what I always say. No, not really. From what I've seen, it does look like a lot of fun, and I will get it eventually. It's just not something that I'm anticipating spending time towards anytime soon.
Okay. Still got a lot of games to beat for the
That's very
challenge.
Yeah. Mystic just beat another one tonight, and I'm still working on all of them.
Well, good news for you, W. Cuddly Basket started getting through Katamari Damacy.
Yeah.
So he was having fun with that. How are you liking it so far?
Oh, I'm enjoying it. It's everything I expected it to be. And it's a lot. I'm liking it a lot. I think I just finished the 7th star.
Yeah,
mission.
yeah.
Just did that.
That mission's hard.
It was tough. Yeah.
You gotta play it like 3 times?
Yeah, three times to get the big old ball of trash.
All those bananas and some pineapple.
Yeah, and children.
I love that game. It's so bizarre. I watch it, I'm like, oh, this is fun. And then I watch it and I go, what game is this?
Yeah, why did they let...
Who thought of this?
They sell this to kids.
I swear, the whole creative team must have been, like, on drugs. I don't even know how they thought of all this bizarreness.
Right? It's like, what the game promises you is rolling up a bunch of items with a ball. What the game gives you is so much more than that.
Just an omnipresent space god with abs and a crown. It's so weird.
And when you fail, he's so mean.
It's very weird.
He's very mean. The prince is, like, crying on the ground.
Mm-hmm. My one tip, be good at that game, because you don't want to feel the scolding from the space god.
Space Dad.
The king of the cosmos. I love him so much.
Alright, well, moving on. Moving on to the next thing. So the next thing we want to talk about, I want to talk about, is Sea of Solitude.
AKA Sea of Bad Sailing.
Yeah, as you guys have probably seen, I put some owl play out there of my bad sailing in Sea of Solitude. So I got this game on day 1. It took me a little longer to play, but it took me about 2 sessions, so the game's not super long. And I super loved it. It's gotten pretty okay scores.
Mm-hmm.
Like a 71?
Yeah, on
OpenCritic. But I really think this game is closer to an 80. I wouldn't give it like perfect scores, but I think it's a pretty dang good game. It talks a lot about like mental health and different things about family, bullying, basically kind of like loving yourself and taking care of yourself.
Good job, EA.
Right?
You did it good.
I really love the game. The art is really beautiful. It looks great. And then they had like lots of little stuff. So like they have a part where you have to, for collectibles, you find bottles, but they represent like K's in their thoughts or thoughts in people's thoughts. And then there's seagulls that you shoo away, which is my favorite part because I don't like seagulls. Shoo! And I'm like, oh, this is me in real life.
Yeah. So accurate.
Another thing I super love playing the game is like there's parts where there's an evil fish lady. I mean, she must have some sort of other character name, but that's what I refer to her
That's
as.
probably it.
She's terrifying. So as you go through the water, she circles around and you have to pass point A to point B before she turns around and basically gobbles you up and eats you. And the way they make it sound with it's like storming and raining, you jump in the water, Kay's character like gasps, and then you hear the fish lady like getting ready to go get you, and then you hurry to get to the next point. And even if you make it on there, she slams into it, and you feel like the vibrations and everything. And it really does a great job of immersing you in that moment of being scared and trying to get through.
Yeah.
And so it really makes you go through like Kay's journey, like she's struggling with a lot of things, and so even in those moments you can feel that.
What's the character's name? Kay?
Kay. Yeah, the main character's name is Kay.
How do you spell it?
Kay. Yeah, there's a couple other characters too, and they're really interesting. My favorite character, I didn't learn was my favorite character till the very end. I won't spoil other people about it. But yeah, and I just love the game. There was one part that was kind of iffy, where it talks about Kay's boyfriend. I felt like it was going in one direction and then changed. You'll see more. I talk about it a little bit more probably in the Outplay that I'll put up later, that episode later. But otherwise, it was a really great game. I've heard complaints about the gameplay controls. I myself am really bad at driving in boat games, so it's hard for me to say whether that was me or the game.
Is it your favorite boat game so far?
Is it my favorite?
Out of all of the
I guess so. Yeah, I guess Wind Waker is scary too.
Oh.
I don't know.
Can we get a top 5 boat games list from Tree?
That's a separate video.
Maybe on a future Owlcast, we'll do favorite boat games.
We'll have an Owlcast specifically made only for boat games. Yeah. This is the boat episode. Get ready.
I noticed that one of your Dragon Quest Builders positive notes, was floating on an inner tube.
Well, yeah, the inner tube's much easier to control than the boats. There was one glitch that you'll probably see in one of the episodes, which was pretty funny, that I enjoyed. Yeah, they just do such a great job of putting that fear in you, though, because there's parts where there's creepy hands that come out. And then at one point, there's these boys who are going, I'm gonna find you, I'm gonna kill you. And they just repeat it. It's just like, oh my gosh, no. And then, when the creatures come to get you, not good times.
So you made it. You captured it.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed the experience, but it would be a lie to say I wasn't scared at a lot of points.
Yeah.
So, but for other people who don't like scary games, I'm not good with scary, and I still enjoyed this game, so I recommend it for them.
That's a good recommendation.
Yeah, and then if people want to just, love like ideas of mental health and things and dealing with loneliness and stuff, I think they would really benefit from this, especially if they feel those kind of similar feelings.
If you had to compare this game to another horror game, what game would that be?
I would compare it to Fragile Dreams. It's not a very well-known Wii game, but it had that same kind of like atmospheric scariness. It also had similar creepy hands that come out. So I'd say it was really atmospheric in the way. Like I feel like it had that same kind of atmospheric. I think Sea of Solitude is a little better with like the traveling through the water and things like that. Because I know Fragile Dreams, this one's more like you don't really combat as much, really. Well, Fragile Dreams obviously fight, the evil ghosts and things.
Okay.
But I think that's what it reminded me a lot of.
I think you should play Senua's Sacrifice. Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice, because it sounds pretty similar to that. And it kind of starts off the same way, too, for the beginning.
Okay, yeah, I might try it out sometime. But I was really excited about this game since I saw it at E3, and I'm really glad I gotta get it and play it. What do you think of it, W?
I mean, it's great. I love how it goes from really pleasant moments to really dark and really spooky, and then it also dives into this character's her emotions, and it's super cool how you get a sense of this character's world, but you never actually experience the character's world. You only experience this character through this metaphorical, like, dream existence that she's going through. But you know this isn't her life. You know she goes to school, she lives in house, you know, but you only experience her life through this metaphorical ocean world, but you still get to really know this character. And I thought that kind of way of explaining that, like, how they did that was really brilliant. Like, I like how you can kind of know this character just through her interactions with her family, and you know this isn't her day-to-day life, and it's more fantastical, more fantasy, but you still believe it, and you still get to know this character, and you still kind of can visualize her in her real world, even though you never experienced that side of her.
Yeah, I like that. Cool. Do you think you guys be interested in trying the game out? No?
Yeah, I think watching is fine. I'm going to watch your full playthrough. Probably.
Okay.
That's how
I have 2 episodes up currently whenever I post this.
Yeah, I'll wait for you to finish.
What do you think?
I'll probably play it at some point.
Okay. Well, I hope to hear what you guys think of it. But yeah, I really love the game, and I hope you listening get to play the game as well, because it's super good.
Speaking of another game that you've been playing with complex characters and an in-depth story.
Before we venture away from Sea of Solitude, I can't help but notice that the Let's Play has this other person who isn't an OwlBoy.
I was too excited to play, and levels weren't available, but our owl guest, Hollow, is available.
Resident owl guest.
Right.
Resident owl guest.
And I know she enjoys a lot of, like, the mental health theme, so I thought she would enjoy watching me play and talking together about it. Yes, I don't know if she'll show up another one, but it was fun doing it with her for about the first half of the episodes, and then the other half will be with W.
Okay.
She was not available.
Oh, I see. I thought you just didn't enjoy the second half of it. With
No.
Yeah, the series really went downhill when Hollow left.
No, she was busy and wasn't able to make it, so, and W was available, so, and I think he was interested in it too, so I thought it was a good switch in between. Alright. So what were you saying?
I was saying, speaking of a game that you've been playing recently, which also has complex characters and an in-depth story, Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Yay! So, Fire Emblem Three Houses was better than I thought it was going to be.
Oh.
But not as good as I wanted.
Whoa. Met my expectations, didn't meet my other expectations.
Yeah, basically. Well, basically, exceeded my low expectations, but didn't meet my desired expectations. So let's start with the positive, because I think that's always a good thing. The character design, I think, was really good. I think the characters themselves and the lore of the story is actually really interesting. They get into all these noble houses and into the lands and the history, and they definitely have everything outlined really well. And they make these connections between the characters and what happens in the storyline that, on the surface, are really interesting. However, it's with the execution of those that didn't quite do as well. So the characters have conversations. And if you play the Fire Emblem game, you know, but basically when you battle together, you know, you bond together, and then you have conversations that you unlock to represent that bonding. However, the conversations in this game were kind of clunky and really felt unnatural. Like, I don't know if so much as the voice acting as like the script writing. It felt like the times they were going for certain ideas and themes, but didn't come across well, didn't execute well, and it just came off kind of odd. And in the same scope, they really made the characters like really surface level. Like with the lore and everything, it seemed like the characters were gonna be able to talk a lot about, you know, where they came from and things they've done and who they are. But it felt like a lot of them just had like one stick, like one shallow personality. Like, this guy's really shy and he gets scared easy and he draws.
One-dimensional.
paints. One-dimensional. This character is, always thinking that people treat her like a kid, and she always gets real mad.
Uh-huh.
And tonight it's even to like an extreme. Like there's this character who's supposed to be kind of like your rival. She's like, oh, because your father basically, she went apprentice under him, and she's like, I'm gonna be better than you are, and I'll live up to him. And you're like, okay, but then she gets really aggressive about it. She's like, I'm better than you. It doesn't matter like what you do, and you're just like, okay, this is a bit much.
Yeah.
So in that way, a lot of characters become unlikable just because of how I think that dialogue is written.
Mm-hmm.
Even though at the surface they seem like decent ideas and characters. And so that's something that's not super great. The gameplay is still really good. I really like the way you can customize the characters to really be any class. So I think that part was done well.
Better than other Fire Emblem games? Combat?
It's about the same.
Okay.
The only thing that made this one kind of interesting is they made it a lot more open to customizing differently. So they kind of have like a default of like what that character class will be or what's leaning towards, but then you can just change it to what you want.
Right.
That's pretty neat. They'll let you customize it that far. However, like in the battles, one aspect that I've always loved is that there's usually some enemies that you can make ally with your team, and I always thought that was super neat. In this game, they don't have that. They let you talk to like the three main characters early on in the game, but otherwise the talk feature is like not really there. And I don't want to go into spoilers too much, but basically there are opportunities that you think enemies will join you, and basically the option isn't there. There's even like a major point in the game where if you think it would make a lot of sense for certain enemy characters to join you, but it's not possible. They don't make it possible in the game, and it doesn't make any sense to me storyline-wise. And the way they handled it, I think, was just badly. I think that's what killed me the most when I was playing this game. It's just I felt like that they should have had the opportunity, or they should have explained it better. And I think that comes a lot with whenever you do have some small conversations in the battles, which is usually when you fight someone and they're connected to you somehow. They just give you like two lines, like your character says something and their character says something, the character says something, and that's it. And with that, there's even like certain character deaths that you don't really feel. Like there's definitely characters where I'm like, oh yeah, that one guy, he died. What was his name? And I don't remember because it's not impactful. If you ever played Awakening, there's definitely a death in there that is super impactful and you super feel it. Even smaller deaths you can kind of like remember, but I think they just don't do it justice in this game, and it just makes things feel a little more empty. I mean, I do like how you can choose who you want from the game. You can choose from even outside your houses to join the game, which I think is a fantastic choice. But the way they handled the enemy not talking really, and then the limited dialogue options, I think really like also hurts the game a lot. Especially because it's such at least to me, a Fire Emblem mainstay. I'm not super big on the Persona aspect of the school. It's alright. I can deal with that. They're trying to go in a different direction. But it's definitely, I think it's different enough where it's starting to feel like more like a Fire Emblem spin-off than an actual Fire Emblem game. So that's just my personal opinion. Another person who's played a lot of it is Mystic. You want to tell us your thoughts about Fire Emblem Three Houses?
So I think I'm at the end of the game. So there's a point in the game in which certain events happen and you skip time. And I think it's like a 5-year time skip. And at that point, you have to figure out what has changed in the world since that 5 years has passed. And I've gone a couple missions in. There's a particular battle which indicates to me that I'm pretty near the end of the game because a lot of things get wrapped up, but not in a way that I feel is satisfying. But I'm going to try to focus on the positives first, then we'll discuss all the negatives at one time. I like the fact that you can give any character a combination of weapons and skills that you like. I enjoy the class-changing system. I like that you can go back and forth and that you're not really tiered. So, maybe not tiered, but you're not put on a specific chain of courses that you have to follow through. Like in Awakening, if you have a character that joins you as a mercenary, then they can only progress up on the mercenary line of courses. And then certain characters will also have all characters have other classes available, but there might be one who has mercenary and then myrmidon and archer. So you can have them go through all of those lines and change their skill set and change their
ability.
No, change their role in combat for your party, for your team. So that's cool. But in this game, they just throw that out the window. They say, if you want your character to be this class, they have to meet this minimum requirement, which is to have a weapon level of this rank in this particular weapon or whatever. So I can have a character. I actually do have a character who has gone through the entire healer line. So monk, priest, I forget what the third one is called, but they've gone through, bishop. They've gone through all three of those, but I also have assassin and swordsman. Let's see, right? They have those classes.
Myrmidon?
No, the
soldier?
No, what Lynn is, the high crit sword character. Sword, yeah. I think it's sword, but it doesn't matter. So I have those classes unlocked, and if I wanted to, I could have her switch to that class line, even though she had never been any of those classes in the past. And that actually works out really well for me, because there are certain legendary items that you get in the game which can change how characters interact in your party just based on those weapon stats alone. So this is a high power magic sword, and since she's been a healer, she has only increased her magic stat primarily. So she's not a useless sword fighter, she's very good. And I intentionally had wanted to have her with 11 sword, which does the same effect, but now that I have this legendary version of the weapon, it does make her much more of a threat because it puts her at a higher tier than the 11 sword would. They also have a blacksmithing sim, and it's okay. I don't know if I like that better than Shadows of Valencia, or if I like it better than Awakening. But it's good. It's there, and it does change how you would strategize with your weapon loadout. I like that you can recruit most of the students, although I don't particularly like most of the students. At least I have the option. So other people who are playing the game, they'll latch onto their favorites pretty quickly, and then they can try to figure out how to get those characters what they need to do. And I think that's it. That's the positives. Well, they do have a lot of lore. I do like the fact that the game has a lot of lore. I don't like the way how they dump it on you. We'll talk about that later, I'm sure.
Anything else to say about it? Like all that?
Is there anything that the music is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I really like the soundtrack for this game. I didn't think that I would feel too highly about it, because Fire Emblem music is Fire Emblem music, but this one actually I really do enjoy a lot.
Yeah, so I feel like this game is a pretty okay game because it has that lore, the music, the class system and things, but definitely, for me at least, the dialogue, the way they do the story, kind of shallowly, and then there's limited dialogue options in battle as well, with no talk option, no ability to have certain enemies change to your side. You know, especially in that significant battle later in the storyline. It just bothers me a lot. But I think I'll still play the game. I'll do it on OwlPlay, and I think I'll still enjoy the game because I especially like three main characters. I've only seen so far Mystic playing Claude.
Lucia.
Claude's character, but Claude's character is like super interesting, and I think they did him really well. So far, he seems like done best, but we haven't seen the other storylines, and I'll be playing the Blue Lion, Dimitri, so hopefully we'll find out more about his story, because they don't really tell you after the 5 years a lot about what's going on. So I'm excited to try that out. Oh, another positive, they didn't make 3 versions of the game to buy. It's all on one.
They didn't pull Pokemon. The Pokemon did a Pokemon, so that's nice.
So there you go.
But that's really, you were really worried about that.
Yeah, I was. So what do you think, W and Cuddly Basket? What do you think? Do you think you'll buy the game? What do you think about what we said so far?
It looks very good. It looks pretty. I like the art. I like the golden deer color because I like yellow. I think I will get it eventually. I was just thinking about that right now, how I do really want to play it now that it's on Switch. But also just for context and comparison, I want to give Awakening a shot. And also I remember when around the time Shadows of Valencia came out, I was like, oh, that looks really cool. I want to try that. So I also want to try that too. It's just going to add more to my backlog because I'm like, oh, I want to try that first. But I should just jump into it at some point.
Yeah, luckily, you can just jump into any of the games and they're all very different. Yeah, this explains Valencia right now. But yeah, I played some Shadows of Valencia and I beat an Awakening, and all of them are really good. Yeah. Preferably, I like Awakening, but I think it's for more personal reasons. I think so, yeah. But definitely, all of them are good. They all have separate storylines, so you don't have to worry about overlapping. Right. They're all kind of expensive. Valencia is probably the cheapest.
You think so?
Yeah, Valencia didn't seem to do
very well. It didn't sell well.
Ooh. Which is sad because...
It's a good game.
I remember at that year, it was like on people's Game of the Year lists. So that's a huge bummer.
Yeah, but so it looks cheap to buy, but it's a good game. Awakening's expensive, and then Three Houses is more expensive. Yeah. There you go. Mm-hmm. But Three Houses you can take on your Switch. But you do have a 2DS.
I do.
So there you go.
It's true. The 2 is true.
So what do you think, W?
I kind of feel the same way Cuddly feels about Dragon Quest Builders 2. I mean, a big problem is I've tried to get into the Fire Emblem series multiple times, and for some reason it just never clicks with me. I start playing and then I put it down and I never pick it back up.
Which ones have you tried playing?
Awakening, Fates. That's it. I've tried playing Awakening like 4 or 5 times. I've seen the beginning of that game a lot.
Do you like the Persona series? Have you ever played it?
I played a little bit of Persona 5 with Mystic last summer. And I also played a little bit of Persona 4, I think. Was that the one with Teddy?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I played a little bit of Persona 4 as well. I played more of 5 than 4, which is not saying very much. I've played very little of both of these games. But I did play them.
Let's see how Teddy's probably going to go with Golden Lions.
That's a cool one. Which one is the Golden Lion?
Golden Lion? Golden Deer?
I want to be that one.
I've been doing that. I've been switching the colors and names. I don't know why.
That sounds sweet. Some Power Ranger stuff right there. I'll take it.
But definitely I think W, you should try, and you should go for the Black Eagles. Right? They're black or red?
Are they
black? They're called Black Eagles, but their
red
flag is red.
They're obviously Pokemon red.
Alright. Well.
There's a special reason why, and I want to see you play it. I mean, W. Take it.
Who's
this person?
Alright. Anything last comments or thoughts?
Not for Fire Emblem.
Alright. Let's see. Next up.
Is it time for me to talk about my new rig?
It is.
Nice. Alright, so a little bit of backstory. I have a gaming computer. And I was all prepared to start streaming and Let's Playing on the Switch. And I got this capture card, and I was all excited to start playing the Switch for the channel. And my computer isn't compatible with my capture card. And I was devastated. Yeah. I had already planned on upgrading my computer slowly over the course of this year. But because my capture card wouldn't let me capture Switch games, and there's just all these Switch games that are coming out, like Dragon Quest Builders and Mario Maker, and all these games that I'm super hyped for, over the course of the years magically turned into over the course of the next 2 months. And so I have been building a sweet rig for the YouTube channel, and it is going to be complete on Monday, and I'm super excited.
Hit me with some of those sweet specs. What do you got? What do you got in the hood?
Alright, so, as you all know, I am terrible at this kind of stuff. I had to ask the help of Mystic, and Cuddly, and like 5 people on the internet.
Yeah, some Reddit savants.
Yes, but through the help of all my collective computer know-how people, I have gone with a Ryzen 3700X 8-core gaming computer.
I don't know what that means, but it sounds impressive.
All those sweet cores.
Yeah.
All those Apple cores.
So, Ryzen, a company that makes computers, gaming computers, they've always been like second banana to IBM. IBM's kind of like the go-to for gaming computers, and Ryzen's always been like the cheap, poor person alternate option. So, like, if you're poor. However, due to a malfunction in one of their models, they had to recall all their models for one of their video cards, and instead of just scrapping them all, they used those recalled models to create what's called the Super Series.
Okay, well, hold on. I need to stop you right there. You're there's a lot of streams that are being crossed here. So, okay, first, Ryzen is the CPU branch from AMD. AMD and Intel, not IBM, are usually on the competing end. Intel, usually having a lot more performance when it comes to gaming stuff specifically. And what you were talking about towards the end there was the 2070 Supers that were like the faulty 2080s previously that are now the 2070 Super Series. Okay, we got it all lined up. AMD, Intel, NVIDIA.
I told you, I am a super expert when it comes to building computers.
Yeah, that was a lot of streams getting crossed through, but I followed it, and I think we're back. We're back now.
It's okay. I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's okay. But you got the things, so that's good.
The point is, because of this Super Series that came out, all of the other video cards became super cheap, and so I was able to get a sweet, really powerful video card for like half the price of what they were going for before. And that is my Ryzen 3700X, and I'm super excited. I looked at all the specs on it on like YouTube and like performance comparisons, and it looks really good. This is going to be a really powerful computer, and I'm super excited. I've never had a really powerful gaming computer before.
Which video card did you get again? Which one was it? It was It was like the R50 580X, or it wasn't the 580X, it was just the straight 580, right? The Radeon 580?
The 5700 8GB.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, I also got the XFX Radeon RX 5700 8GB.
Gotcha, okay.
And for my memory unit, I went with the Ripjaw V-Series. I went with 32 gig. Everyone kept saying that 16 gig was more than enough, so I decided good enough wasn't good enough, so I doubled that.
yeah. For gaming, 16 gigs is plenty. But since you're also doing a lot of video editing stuff and Photoshop, that sort of things, it benefits you a lot in that area. Having the extra 16.
And during this entire ordeal, I have learned so much about building a computer. I learned what a motherboard BIOS is, and I've learned to hate motherboard BIOS. I got the the Crossfire AXT motherboard, and it's also called the Tomahawk. And,
the Tomahawk, right?
Yeah. And a lot of the people on Reddit, they recommended this one over a more newer model, just for compatibility reasons. But the problem is I had to upgrade the BIOS to match my Ryzen 3700, and that turned out to be a complicated mess. And I ended up just paying a computer store to do it for me. So that was fun. But yeah, this when everything's said and done, it's going to be complete on Monday, and I'm super excited. I have a bunch of smaller indie games on the Switch that I bought in preparation for just to play Let's Plays on. I haven't even touched any of them yet. I've kind of just put them on save just so I can start making YouTube videos, doing some blind playthroughs of them. And yeah, it's going to be fun.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, we can see your stream.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna start sending sweet pictures of my computer to all my friends. They're gonna see me. Maybe I'll Photoshop me dining at a fancy restaurant with it. And
taking your computer out on a date.
Oh yeah.
I love it. Yeah, wine and dine.
Maybe give it some Doki Doki blush marks on its sides, and it's gonna be great.
Are you gonna be a super PC gamer now?
Oh no!
Oh man, I hope I don't turn into a PC master race. I'm just saying.
You already have.
It might happen.
Yeah, you're gonna get Ooblets on the Epic Game Store and have it at full 4K, 120 frames. You're gonna pull the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, that's what I plan to do, and I'm excited.
Nice. All right. Well, the last topic for this Owlcast, some OwlBoiz news. Gonna be me, Tree.
Tree's leaving the channel.
No, not leaving it.
Oh.
Bye, Tree. Even though you talked about how you wanted to play Fire Emblem and all that stuff.
Now I'm going to be moving. So, Cuddly and Mystic and I kind of live close together. We're able to make it a little easier, but it'll be a little harder. But I'm still going to be part of the channel. I'm going to be moving kind of far. So, that's my new news for the OwlBoiz.
Wait, if you could kindly give us your new address so everyone can send you fan mail.
Oh, no.
Oh,
okay. Just send it.
Maybe your phone number, your social security number.
You can just comment on the video, and then... I mean, we have, do we have our email address for the OwlBoiz?
I don't know.
We should put that up. For all our fans.
Our email address is our YouTube channel name.
Oh,
so.
yeah. Not hard. But yeah. So, I'm hoping to still keep up with what I can, because I'll be busy with stuff in the moving. But, yeah, I'll be...
Don't worry, I'll keep forcing you to do stuff.
Yeah, and I hope we can...
I'll call you in the late hours, even if you don't want me to, and I'll be like, okay, we gotta record something, then you can go back to sleep.
Yeah, thankfully, the hours shouldn't be crossed as much. I'm still in the same time zone, so that'll be good. Yeah. Any comments on this?
Go. Get going. Hurry.
Wow.
You're gonna miss your flight.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
gonna.
it was nice knowing you. See you later.
Wow. I mean, I'm gonna miss being near some of the OwlBoiz. They're pretty cool. Hopefully, we can stay connected with the channel and playing games together online. Maybe one day we'll get cuddly to play Dragon Quest
Maybe someday.
or some other multiplayer.
We believe harm enough. Harm enough
Harmony.
if we harm me. I'll play the game. We threaten me with force. So it's gonna take. Yeah, we're all very. It's a very somber thing because there's good reasons why you're going. But yeah, this isn't the last time we're gonna be together. We'll all see each other again eventually. It'll happen.
You gonna come visit?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll visit you in Animal Crossing.
You're like, I'm at your island.
Hey, I'm here. I'm visiting. Airfare was not bad.
Hey, Nick doesn't charge too much.
Charges a lot, but not too much. He's fair.
I mean, I don't live anywhere near you guys, so.
You're like not affected at all by this. What do you think, Misty?
And we're definitely going to keep recording, and I'm definitely going to continue to see you throughout your...
Obviously, Mystic's broken up about this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets all kind of missing.
It's okay.
I'll visit you during your exile.
At least someone will visit me.
Yeah, me and Animal Crossing, and then no one else. No one else. I'm gonna be your only friend, my true friend.
Maybe I'll even get a visit from W.
He's gonna be too busy playing Ooblets on PC.
Yeah. He's like, I am one with my computer now.
He's never gonna get away from this thing.
I'm just gonna fuse with my computer. It's gonna be great. I'm going to discard this human coil.
You're gonna become HDR.
Exactly. And I'm gonna know what IBM is.
What are these days?
Alright, any last thoughts for the Soundcast?
AMD, Ryzen, Intel, CPU, NVIDIA, 2700 Super. That's not it. That wasn't right even. I said that wrong. I'm not gonna correct it though. Look up 2700 Super, see what happens.
Alright, sounds good. This has been Chi.
Cuddly.
Mystic.
And W.
And that's Owl for now.
Bye-bye.